Welcome back to VMware View 5 Essentials Training. You've reached the last lesson, and we're going to talk about the next steps that you can take. Let's start with doing a quick review of what we've learned so far. We started off talking about what makes up View and how you license those different pieces. Then we showed you how to put all the pieces together, step by step, showing you each piece of the process. Once we had everything installed, we showed you how to configure your pools and how to maintain them once users start logging in. We described the importance of user profiles and user data, and how you can manage them best in a View environment. We also talked about how to manage your printers within the View environment. Then we went over application virtualization, both creating the packages and deploying them to your environment. Then we showed you how you can monitor View and how to troubleshoot it if you run into issues. Finally, we talked about the VMware VCA DT certification and some tips on how to prepare for it. Now that you've come to the end of this series, what should you do now? I recommend doing some practicing and experimentation on what you've learned here. Take the lessons that we've given you and play around with the different topics. Install View in a lab environment, create the different desktop pool types, and understand how they work and where they fit best within your organization. Play around with the user profile functionality, the printing functionality, and you can even go into some of the more advanced topics that we didn't cover directly here, like local mode and kiosk mode. If you haven't built out your lab environment yet, feel free to go back and follow along with the demonstrations in each of the lessons to get yourself up to the point at which you can start experimenting successfully. Then do some research. We've given you lots of great links throughout the different lessons, and there's lots of blogs that post View-related information, as well as the VMware forums, which is always a great resource. As you go into your lab and you research the different topics, if there's anything that still comes up as a question in your mind, go back and review the particular lesson in this video series. You can go back and fast forward to the exact point that you want to see. If you just want to see the installation process in our lab, go back to the Installing View lesson and fast forward to the demo section. There's no need to have to go through the entire lesson set again. Once you feel comfortable with View, you're ready to deploy it to production. I always recommend starting with a proof of concept. The lab environment you built to experiment and practice can go a long way towards the proof of concept. But ideally what you want to do in the proof of concept is to actually lay out some of the requirements you have within your environment and test to make sure that View can properly match those requirements. Then you move into a pilot phase, where you start rolling out some actual users into the environment and making sure that it works for them on a day-to-day basis. The two approaches I see most often is choosing one department and virtualizing the majority of them all at once, and making sure it works for that one department. I also see some organizations run their View pilot using a few users from multiple different departments. This gives you a wide berth of different roles that can give you a good guidepost to which departments are good candidates for virtualizing their desktops. Once you feel like the environment's well architected and has been used well by your pilot users, start a phased rollout. These phases can be different users within one department or one phase per department. It really depends on your organization and how your IT department will deal with these users. Finally, pursue certification. If you're interested in making this a career goal, certifications will always help you out. So let's talk specifically about VMware's desktop certifications. The lowest level is the VCA DT. It's the entry-level desktop certification and is primarily focused on the day-to-day administration of View. The most important thing to know here is how to troubleshoot it and know where the different settings are within the interface. The next level up is the VCP desktop certification. This is more of an engineer level certification, where there's more focus on the individual components and what they provide to the overall View environment, how to install the components, and how to configure them properly. The VCP DT does require the regular VCP certification, because it's assumed that someone at a system engineer level will know how to manage a vSphere environment as well. This certification is really based around a complete knowledge of the virtual desktop environment, not just how to manage View itself. The VCAP DT certification is VMware's highest desktop-based certification. It is more of an architect-level certification, so it requires an understanding of requirements and design, similar to the VCAP DCA and DCD certifications in the vSphere product line. And as you would expect, it does require the VCP DT certification as a prerequisite. Now here I've got a list of some of my favorite supporting resources that I use for finding View information. First of all, there's the standard VMware View documentation out on VMware's site. This includes several different documents, including the upgrade guide and the installation guide. There's also the VMware View community, which is always the first place to look when you're troubleshooting an issue. My advice is to search and see if someone else has already had the problem. If there's not a solution, contribute to the troubleshooting process by posting in that same thread. If you can't find anything already out there, feel free to make your own post and start a thread about it. Also check to see if you have a local VMware user group. I'm a big fan of the vMugs, and feel that attending these meetings not only gives you a good opportunity to hear from different vendors and partners, but also gives you the ability to talk to other users of VMware. This is a great opportunity to talk to other users who have gone through the same thing you may be going through, and to learn from their mistakes and successes. If you're looking for someone that has specific experience on a particular topic, talk to the leader of the user group, because they oftentimes know a lot of the other users and what they've gone through. Also take a look at VMware's certification portal, where you'll find a lot more detail about the certifications, including a study guide that includes information about the exam itself. Finally, I've listed a few View-centric blogs that are out there. The first two are official VMware blogs by the View and ThinApp teams, where a lot of great information gets posted on a regular basis. The last two on there are personal blogs that deal specifically with View and end-user computing, and I highly recommend adding them to your RSS feeds or checking them out on a regular basis. Now that you've gone through some or all of this series, we'd really like to hear your thoughts on it. TrainSignal has several different avenues in which you can provide us feedback to either improve future versions of this course or provide ideas for additional content that we can create around this course or any other course that TrainSignal offers. We'd like to encourage you to use whichever avenue makes the most sense for you. We've got a phone number and an email address, as well as forums and a blog that you can post on. If there's any specific comments for this series that you'd like to provide, please feel free to contact Lane or myself. We'd love to hear your feedback directly and help answer any questions you might have. And we both do have day jobs, but we're more than happy to help out when we can. I hope you learned a lot and can successfully take this information to create and manage your own View environment. Thank you for your time and your business.